An unexpected change, the advent of a new service manager for the Kiowa Service Company, Larry Foster having moved on. The communal being that he desired to go in business for himself. The clandestine reason being, a discordant with owner Steve Miller's posture on warranties and other irregularities. Gary having experienced Miller's pressure to apply a warranty resolution whenever possible, or even manufacture a possibility. Larry's refusal to be part of this deception, an added reason for his departure. The service company was introduced to Howard Williams, a middle-aged service department manager, who was previously employed by a John Deere dealership in Norman, Oklahoma. Gary, as well as many of the service company employees, puzzled over how Steve Miller came about finding Howard, but then again the same could be said about his hiring of Steve McCreary. Like McCreary, Howard immediately sought means to establishing permanent residency. He and his wife purchasing and preparing a vacant lot on the corner of South 9th and Robinson Street for a double-wide modular home. On the home front, Gary's father-in-law, Bud Murrow, was prompted by his family to engage in something he had never attempted before: harvest his own wheat. The only problem was he didn't have a combine. Bud in the past, along with other members of his wife's family, joined together, hiring someone to harvest the once Roth family sections of land. Bud, giving in to the wishes of his wife and daughters, approaching John Miller about renting or buying a used combine to harvest his quarter section of wheat. John recently having traded for a vintage 1960s 95 combine that was in working order, but in need of some minor repairs and an engine head gasket. The two coming to agreement at a nominal price for what Gary thought might be the Murrow's first and last time in harvesting their own wheat. Also having some concern with his younger brother-in-law Sean Johnson, who was working for Murrow Construction, taking a quasi-part in the repairs. The harvest event resembled more of a picnic than a serious harvesting endeavor. A family affair with the children and grandchildren all taking turns riding in the combine as it slowly progressed with its cutting endeavor through the 120 acres. The wheat hauling truck duties shared among the Murrow daughter Gail Robb and son-in-law Sean. Gary unable to participate, his duty at the parts counter during the harvest weeks stretched into 16-hour days. Gary's wife Jan entering Kiowa service looking perplexed. It was nearing the final day for the family's 95 combine to complete its appointed task. Jan evoking that the combine had stopped running, Sean spending several hours trying to remedy its problem, but having no luck. Jan with a look of hopelessness presented a question. "Could you do something?" Gary immediately thought of his friend Ron Zanter, but he was on a service call and unavailable. A walk through the shop area finding Keith Hoffman, Jim Pulliam, and Denny Callison. All three having returned from service calls. Gary relating the Bud Murrow combine predicament, mentioning that Sean had attempted to resolve the problem without success. The three all shaking their head, acknowledging they knew Sean. Keith volunteered to make the short journey to Bud's acreage. Then Denny added his voice, followed by Jim. All three would participate. Keith's service pickup was full, with 3 mechanics. Gary notifying Craig Braden he would be out of the building, telling Jan that Hope was on its way before following the others. The short excursion to the Murrow's state line farm accomplished, the 3 journeyman mechanics discovering a Solace 95 combine sitting in the field with a sulking Sean Johnson giving a summary of the circumstances, and what he thought the problem was. The 3 addressing the situation, Jim cranking the engine, Keith and Denny on top assessing the engine problem. Within what seemed like minutes a resolution was determined. With some skilled adjustments the vintage harvester came to life, once again ready to fulfill its appointed task. Gary posing a question to 3 about submitting a work order. All 3 just smiled. "Tell Bud the service call is on us."